Hello, everybody, and welcome to this yet another episode of the Entrepreneur's Gambit. My name is Madan Padaki. I'm the host for the show. I'm the co-founder of Game. Game, as you might be aware, stands for Global Alliance for Mass Entrepreneurship, and our mission in life is to energize and enable an ecosystem that will help entrepreneurs to thrive, to grow, and to create more jobs. And it is entrepreneurs like these that I have on my show that I'm talking about. To our guests, Shuba and Ivy, welcome to the Entrepreneur's Gambit. And delighted to have you here with us, and delighted to have you as a part of the XB cohort.
Thank you, Madan.
Thank you, Madan.
Wonderful. So let's just jump straight in and get to understand a little bit more about your journeys, your lessons that you've learned, wisdoms that you want to share with all of us. And I'm sure both of you will inspire a lot of our audience who's tuning in now who's sitting on the fence to jump on to the other side and start becoming entrepreneurs. Right? So, Shuba, let's start with you. Tell us, you can start off by defining what you do, what's the business that you run, and what is that moment like when you suddenly decided that, yes, I want to be an entrepreneur?
Right. So Madan, I'm a cosmetic dermatologist and I run aesthetic clinics, 2 of them in Bangalore and Hyderabad. And we cater to a niche clientele that are really interested in the best of the skin and the hair services that the world has to offer. Mm-hmm. So from a very early age, I have noticed that skin and beauty has a great psychosocial impact on one's well-being, career, and life goals. As in my uni days and college days, I was a model. And from that time, I had noticed first-hand experience of me having a skin problem. And I've noticed the kind of psychosocial impact that it can have. Today, teenagers and young adults with pigmentation problems or acne problems, or even as you age with the lines and wrinkles that you see on your face, people don't feel, they lose the confidence and self-esteem, I think. And I somehow throughout my stint in the UK, I was there for 11 years and I've worked as a general practitioner for the NHS. I have also always found myself being gravitated towards skin and hair issues. Maybe because of my background in the beauty and the fashion industry. So, that has made me realize. And then when I came back to India, relocated to India, I found a huge lacuna in the skin services. During my short stint where I tried to work for different aesthetic clinics in India, I found that there were a lot of not evidence-based medicine being practiced. There was a lot of B-grade treatments that were being sold and something not necessarily in the interest of the patients. It was all very commercial. This is when I decided that I wanted to start something that could make an impact on people's lives, confidence, self-esteem.
Nice. And how long have you been doing this for now, Shuba?
I've been in this field for 5 years in the UK and almost, coming up to 8-9 years in India as well. So yeah, quite a lot of experience, 13-14 years. Before that, I was, of course, in general practice. After having gained my medical knowledge and medical skills, that's when I decided that I did all of the courses that UK had to offer, the various courses in Botox and fillers by the best of the plastic surgeons and dermatologists throughout the country. I even went to Poland. I did my hair transplantation course. I did a further postgraduate diploma from the University of Cardiff in clinical dermatology. That's when I decided that initially, of course, the next step was to put it all into practice.
Okay.
So I did have a private clinic in North London as well, where I tried to inject some of my clients. And even before that, I had to practice on my friends and family. First for no cost and then at cost. And then when I knew that I could consistently provide results, that's when I decided to open my clinic. Wow. And before I knew it, I was offered to be the director of a chain of hair transplant clinics in South India. And I, being so naive, I trusted the person and I left my very lucrative jobs and what I had set out to achieve in the UK. I left all of it and I came back to India but then realized that the offer didn't stand, and I was just
Hmm.
too naive to believe any of that. But then all of a sudden, in the middle of India, I was suddenly again dependent. Having been a successful doctor, I was suddenly dependent on my parents for money, and
Wow.
like, so that
Wow.
didn't have a job. And that's when I decided to try to get a job and check out the market, and I was really disappointed with what I saw.
Uh-huh.
That's when I said, okay, maybe I can offer these services with evidence-based treatments, A-grade treatments, what I have seen in the UK, what I've seen over the world, gone to conferences, learned, and put that into practice. Within no time, Hyderabad, I relocated to Bangalore after marriage, and then my parents helped me set up the first clinic,
Wow.
financial help and the support, mental support that I got from them. And the second clinic was started with, with my husband's support.
Wow. No, that's a fantastic story here, Shubha, where obviously you came and you come from an extremely rich academic research based background, but as you said, you were trained to be a doctor and not an entrepreneur. And the accidental entrepreneur that you became when somebody pulled the plug on an offer, and you said, listen, you know
I
damn
can,
it, I'll do it myself.
yes.
Do you ever regret that moment? I mean, I'm sure you must be thanking your stars that the guy pulled back the offer.
No, I've always missed, UK. I was literally living in two countries for the longest time, but then I let go of that. India is my passion. India has given me a lot, awards, achievements, and I cannot go back to where I was. But I don't miss the entrepreneurial journey. Yes, I've made a lot of mistakes. There's been a lot of trials and tribulations, ups and downs, but I don't think I can ever go back to working for someone. Once you've experienced the entrepreneur, once you've experienced that you're the business, the entrepreneur that you are, I don't think you'll ever want to go back to a 9 to 5 working
Yeah,
job.
wonderful. Super. We'll come back to you. I have a lot of questions for you, Shubha, and we'll come back. Ivy, let's hear your story.
Yeah, thank you, Madan. I'm Ivy Manohara, founder director of Filmapia. We are India's first online platform for film shooting locations.
Hmm.
So when I say films, I mean feature films, TV ads, commercials, TV serials, web series, as of nowadays, corporate videos or photo shoots, documentaries, even events and marketing campaigns. Basically, everything that requires a location.
Wow.
When I say location, I mean crowdsourced locations. For example, private homes, private offices, hotels, resorts, and let's say public locations, like for example, a road, if you'd like to shoot on a road or in a mountain or in the snow, near the hills, public locations that are owned by the government. So, and all these locations are crowdsourced. So basically, that's what we do. In the film industry, we provide locations for film shoots. Um, about my journey, I am by far nowhere near the film industry.
Hmm.
I have about 17 years of experience in the global diamond mining industry, where I headed the GIS division in the Indian offices. When I say GIS, I mean Geographic Information Systems. So basically, our job involved travel, exploration, survey to find diamond mines across the world.
Wow.
So yes, so that's, and this was all before Google Maps came about. So in
Hmm.
early 2000. So when the GPS systems were still being developed.
Hmm.
And my husband's from the IT telecom sector. By virtue of our jobs, we've traveled extensively around the world to several countries in all the 5 continents. So that's really been our background, my background. But in 2008, when the Great Recession struck, our companies closed down in India, and suddenly the axe fell on us. So we had a lot of time on our hands. So besides being travel enthusiasts, my husband and I, we're both movie enthusiasts as well. So all we did all the time was sit and watch a lot of movies.
Wow. Okay.
Indian cinema, world cinema, even if we didn't know the language, we'd sit and watch it. And because we had traveled so extensively, when we watched these movies, we could find out where these movies were shot. We were able to identify the background locations. But some of them we couldn't. So just out of curiosity, we looked around on the net to see where these movies were shot, and we couldn't find any information anywhere. So we looked around, asked around, just to curiosity, but we couldn't find any. So we decided, instead of asking, let's answer that question ourselves. So we started, just because we had a lot of time on our hands, we started building an online library called Filmapia. Okay, so Filmapia meaning films and maps for locations.
Yeah.
So, and I
Very
have,
nice name. Very nice name.
thank you. I have an innate sense of research. I mean, I love going after unknown things. So I researched, looked up travel atlases, whatever we could find those days. And I started creating content as to where these movies were shot. And my husband, being the IT person that he is, we made an online blog or a website. And we started putting this information. And we did this every day for several years. And before we knew it, a huge community was formed around our website with a lot of movie enthusiasts, travel enthusiasts. And about maybe 2 years into doing this exercise, we started having filmmakers call us saying that, look, we saw this movie on screen, and then now we know where it's shot thanks to you, but could you now help us shoot there? So that was a completely new phenomenon for us. We didn't know what it takes to shoot. But again, as you say, curiosity, we started looking into why a person needs to ask us, and why I'm sure there are systems in the film industry for this to happen. And then when we looked and dug deeper into the film industry, we noticed there's a film locations market that's hugely chaotic and unorganized. But it's been running well. See, movies are being done for 120 years, and India records the largest number of movies in the world per year. So movies are being done, but this industry is going on. It has its huge pain points, but people are still going on with it, and movies are being made. But we noticed this huge gap, and we sensed a huge business opportunity there. And so we thought that let's explore that a little bit more. And we started taking on very small projects to get some ground experience of how to provide a feasible location that a movie can shoot in. And not only provide a feasible location, we should also help them shoot there.
Correct.
So we went to Mumbai, we went to we were in Bangalore anyways, we went to Chennai, we worked in as small assistants on the movie sets. We observed a lot, and then we came upon this knowledge of how to run this business.
Fascinating. Wow, what a story.
But it took us, if you talk about timelines, and if you talk about when did I become an entrepreneur, it was 10 years in the making. It was never overnight. So we started this library in 2008, but we started Filmapia as a completely full business in 2018.
Wow.
All along, it was just research, small projects, testing the waters. So my entrepreneurial journey was 10 years in the making.
Wow. No, this is amazing. Ivy, I'm sure there'll be a movie made about you someday.
I hope so.
With obviously all locations being chosen by you.
Oh, yes.
This is fascinating, because we are seeing two contrasting journeys here, right? But very similar in a way, right? Shuba came from the field. She really understood the field very well, right? And she's kind of layered on several layers of expertise and then created an offering. Whereas you came from a different space completely altogether. The only common thing is the GPS, and you're looking for diamond mines, right? And if you stuck another gold mine or a diamond mine in the film world.
Absolutely. Yes.
And what started out for you was as a hobby.
Yes.
Was a they call the side business, or I don't even, it wasn't a business. It was just a something that interested you and you guys got going. And the 10 years in the making really helped you understand what the product market fit was, who's your customers, what offerings, etc., and then you jumped into it.
Yes.
Right. So I get a lot of queries from entrepreneurs saying that, should I start off something on now? Should I just jump in? I think the answers are there. You can do either. Right. I don't think there's any one right answer there, but it's fantastic. On Just as a question, follow-on question, Ivy. So when did you really quit your job? Were you between 2008 to 18, were you still doing your work or?
No, 2008 to 2012, we were involved fully into researching and going around and understanding the business. But we got back to our corporate jobs in 2012. See, the comforts of a corporate job, we cannot deny.
Correct.
And for a budding startup, which could or may not even take flight, we couldn't let go of a corporate job and where we had our expertise in. So we went back to our corporate jobs, back into the mining and the telecom industries, and we continued these small projects in the weekends, working at midnights, holidays. So we had a full-fledged job with this over the weekends. And we persisted along these lines. But around 2017, the projects that we started getting were so huge that we could not moonlight anymore. So at that point of time, we had to take the decision to quit our corporate jobs. That was a very bold thing we did. And both of us took that jump at the same time.
Wow. So it was you were on a job one day, and the next day you were out there as entrepreneurs. I mean, of course, doing stuff that you knew, but doing it more full time. Wow, wonderful. Yeah. No, this is always very interesting, and I want to go a little deeper into this because one of the aspects that an entrepreneur always struggles with, and I think the entrepreneur must always not even struggle with, but must be consciously doing, is a learning journey. That it's not true, it's not just an entrepreneur alone. Any person who stops learning every day dies. Right? And especially in your fields, these are very technical, very specific fields. Right? It's just not that, oh, I'm just offering something that anybody can take. I'm sure, Ivy, you are challenged and, you're learning something every day. And similarly, Shuba, there's so much of changes happening in the medical field on a daily basis, new research coming up. So I want to really understand what is your process of learning? How do you make sure that you're learning every day? How do you do this? And secondly, as you're building your organizations, Shuba, how many people do you have in your team?
Well, pre-COVID, I mean, we had a lot more people. Now we have downsized a little bit, mostly because some of my doctors have left to their hometown.
Yeah, correct.
So we've got 4 people in each clinic.
Sure. And Ivy, I'm sure you'll be working with a lot of freelancers, consultants, etc.
Yes. So in Bangalore, we have about 5 people in our office. In Mumbai, about 2. And wherever else we shoot within India, we work with hand-picked contractors and freelancers.
Got it. So what I also want to delve on is how do you make sure that your team learns? I'll give you an example. I mean, this is an older example, but shows how much of a learning organization we were. Ages ago, I used to be in Infosys. And as a young graduate out of college with absolutely zero knowledge of banking, I was put into the banking business unit of Infosys, and there were about 30 of us. Interestingly, this unit was handled by Nandan Nilekani. And every month he used to attend, and every week we had a fantastic boss. And he used to organize these learning sessions for all of us. We were engineers who had to understand banking. I still remember those intense learning sessions where 3 hours on a Saturday morning, every week without fail, each of us has to present on a subject. I, for example, had chosen trade finance. Even after 25 years, I still remember the concepts of trade finance that we were looking at then, right? And the beauty of this was, I think once in a while, Nandan used to drop in and he used to participate in the quizzes as well. So where I'm coming from is, if you are not really focused on building an organization that learns, then growth is not possible, right? So I just want to, Shubha and Ivy, get your thoughts on your own personal learning styles and what has made you learn effectively, and how do you ensure that the organization is learning at the same time?
So I think, Madan, my background education in UK really, really helped me. UK has set a great example for me. I have been in the NHS, so it's very intense learning throughout. And you had mentors. I had GP mentors, I had hospital mentors. I could reach out to everyone. You're very well protected in the
Hmm.
NHS. But then when you come out and then you start setting up your own practice, that's when you face a lot of problems. But one good thing with medical education is that we have conferences, we have seminars, we have world conferences, especially in the aesthetic field, which is developing at such a fast rate every year. The lasers go outdated, and you have new therapies and new. That's the kind of research that is going on today.
Correct.
So I've always believed that every aesthetic doctor, every doctor maybe should attend at least one local conference, national conference, and one international conference, and that's always been my goal from the time I was in the UK. Throughout my time here, the last 8 years, I've been following that. I've been attending at least one international conference, and now I've reached a stage where I'm also the key opinion leader for a few products and lasers. So I'm being called more and more often to attend conferences and education. So I'm attending almost every 3 months. I have a conference to attend. This was pre-COVID, of course. And even during COVID, I must say there's been so much online learning. We've had almost
Yeah.
every week, every day we've had conferences online by the best of the best in the field. So there's a lot of training and education. And I try to impart that education to my doctors, to my staff. There's also medical representatives that come in with product and with experts that train us almost on a monthly basis. We have these sessions. So medical education, I'm not really worried. We have plenty. In fact, I'm also doing my master's course in facial aesthetics from the University of London.
Wow.
So it's constant CME, continuous medical education, that happens when you're a doctor. But of course, business wise, I haven't really been focusing so much on how to develop business skills. That's just been trial and error. But now I've done the best thing, which is joining game, of course.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
best in the field giving us lectures. It feels so beautiful.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Uh, I think there's a very important lesson before I come to you, Ivy, is that I meet many entrepreneurs, and sometimes I feel the same way as well, that, oh, I know there's so many things to be done as an entrepreneur, that taking 3 days off, 4 days off, attending a conference, investing in learning. I'm sure when you're doing your masters, that's not come easy. You have to spend hours on
Yeah.
a daily, weekly basis, right?
Yes.
And a lot of us compromise for the short term and compromise the long term on that. So the clear lesson is that keep learning every day, and which, as you rightly said, the medical field is changing so rapidly that if you're not up to speed, you'll be obsolete.
Absolutely.
Right? So the field forces you to do that, but maybe there are some fields where the pressure is not that high. But I would still urge, the lesson really is continue to learn every day, invest in yourself,
Yes.
right?
And I think UK has done a great job that way. We have learning. If there is an adverse reaction to a patient, then we audit that, we write
Correct.
about it, and then we have a group meeting, and that is discussed every week. What went wrong? What could be improved? It
Hmm.
reflecting on your practice. What
Wow.
can be done better? We've had there was a time when we had this bird flu, affecting the practices in a really big way. And every week there were meetings on how are we going to tackle this problem. It's just, they are thinkers. The British are thinkers, and that's the best part that I've learned. from people.
Wonderful. It also means that you learn a lot through informal networks as well. Your colleagues, as you said, your professors, etc., etc. So, how do you surround yourself with people who can constantly kind of encourage that learning process in you?
So we do have some WhatsApp groups, and then we're also part of the medical, there are medical communities with cosmetic surgeons or with hair transplant surgeons. So I'm part of those
Okay.
organizations. So, and of course, medical journals is very important to keep reading medical journals. We do that on a regular basis now that I'm doing my master's as well. So we have to go through a lot more
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah. Terrific. Yeah. Ivy, what about you? Because you literally learned everything about the film industry from scratch.
Yes, yes.
So, what was that process like?
Well, there was absolutely no information available.
Hmm.
The film industry is busy making films,
Hmm.
and nobody has the patience to sit back and write a line about it and put it somewhere, document
Correct.
it online or
Yeah.
offline. You
Yeah.
know? So there is zero material, I can say that for a fact, at least in my area of work, which is production. We're film production. So that's
Hmm.
where the locations business comes about. So wasn't this the reason why we started researching and creating content? Because there was absolute lack of it. But when we started, besides building the library, the process of executing shoots, if we look online, as Shuba says, maybe London, we've gotten a lot of information how film shoots are conducted in London, or
Hmm.
maybe in the US, parts of Europe, but there's nothing Indian.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Indian film industry works in a completely ad hoc and random way. It does not follow a set procedure. And I mean, we have about 10 film industries within India itself. Like we know about Bollywood, but South itself has about 5 industries. There's
Hmm.
Punjabi, there's Gujarati, Bengali, Oriya, different film industries. And all of them have their own rules, and so they have their film unions, and the film union would chart out, let's say, about 10 rules that the film industry should comply when they're shooting, but 90 other rules are just understood.
Correct.
Nobody writes it. It's just that people have worked on it and they think it's a best practice and they use it. But it's best practice for that particular shoot itself. It has no longevity, no sustainability, no standards attached to it.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's where we saw. And we started. So when we got into the ground and saw the absence of rules, especially the unwritten rules, actually ruled the world.
Hmm. Hmm.
So what we started doing is we started documenting a Bible. We call it the Bible. It's a series of business rules. So
Hmm.
when we work in an ad, work in an ad,
Hmm.
how does the ad industry function? These are the rules, because these rules we document it, and then when
Hmm.
we work on the second ad, we call our team and say the last time we worked, these were the learnings, these are the pitfalls you should avoid,
Hmm.
these are the things we should do better. So before we embark on a similar project, we bring out from this Bible and disseminate to our team.
Wonderful.
So likewise, we built a set of rules, the way the film industry functions, the way it should actually function, which is what Film Mapia is an evangelist of, which it stands for, and also where can we compromise? We can't be too different. We should imbibe the best of what exists with adding on our experience. I mean, we've been for so long in the corporate industry. If we don't put protocols, standards, and processes, I mean, all our years of corporate goes for a waste. So that's where we bring in our practices, and we tell our team this is how we should work. So we've got a set of rules that we've built over time for the TV industry, for the film industry, for photo shoots, what works, what doesn't work.
Hmm.
So slowly what's happened, and we've moved these rules in the online world through our website, through our social media, and slowly we see people adapting to these rules. because these rules are not as complex as can be, and all these rules do have logic to it, and a definite start point and an end point, a penalty and an award to each of these rules. I mean, these are the advantages of being in a corporate, right? If we can't bring this in. So yes, documentation of these rules. We've now slowly been emerging as subject matter experts in the film locations industry, with a lot of film schools calling us to give talks for budding filmmakers. And then we're also writing articles. We had just started attending trade shows where we could, the industry, conferences, as Shuba says, they are so important to network. We had just started, and the pandemic put us back a couple of years. But yes, learning is an integral part, especially because this knowledge didn't exist. That's what we are doing, Madan, as a learning organization.
Brilliant, Ivy. I mean, this can't get any better. Thank you. You elucidated it so beautifully.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. So the point that's coming, and I wanted to kind of emphasize on that, Ivy, especially in your case, when it's completely unstructured, unorganized, right? And the beauty of it is, for anybody like you starts organizing the information and the processes, the protocols, SOPs, you automatically start becoming the thought leader in the space.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And thought leadership positioning is what every entrepreneur must aspire for, because then you don't have to go sell your venture.
Correct.
And businesses or services that you offer, people will come to you.
Yes, yes, that's happening.
This is a lesson I learned early on in Meritrad, that thought leadership positioning is super important. I mean, when we started out, the assessment industry didn't exist in any form. We were the first skills assessment body of India. Almost a similar journey. I mean, three of us. I'm a software sales guy selling software in Japan. My partner was, my co-founder Murli, was selling floor cleaning solutions for 3M. And the third co-founder, Mohan, was writing code for a banking project in London. None of us knew anything whatsoever of assessments, right? But we latched on to two professors who also turned out to be good friends and distant relatives. And they, in 2 years, taught us everything there is to know about assessments. And we remember going to classes every Saturday afternoon, and it is statistically heavy. I still remember, struggling to fight sleep on a Saturday afternoon, classes on various statistical analysis you need to do on items, etc. But subsequently, what happened was we realized that we have so much of information and knowledge and data that in 2005, we published India's first ever employability report on engineering graduates, which continues to be cited today as India's first engineering employability skills. And from 2005, I keep telling my folks that I work with, we never had a sales team in the sense that every call was, I read a report, this is very interesting, let's talk, from various customers, right? So if for every entrepreneur out there, figure out what is the thought leadership that you can define in your own field. It doesn't matter whether you're doing flower decoration. It doesn't matter whether you're cooking pickles or making pickles at home. It doesn't matter. There is always something that you can be the repository of knowledge in that space. Right? And the same is the case with you, Shuba. I mean, there's so much, especially in your case, when everything is so expertise and evidence-led. I love what you're talking about, the whole reflection sessions. How do you look at what you did, reflect on it, and come back and say, this is what we did right, this is what we did wrong, and how do we improve every day? Shuba, any reflection on what Ivy just said?
I think what she's doing is great. That's a beautiful job where there are no stands. She's setting a benchmark, standards. That's amazing. She is a thought leader, like you've said. And that's going to add huge value to people who are going to follow in her footsteps. It's important to leave that documentation. And that's why we go to UK or US, because people have done it before. They've written articles, done great things, and we go and follow and learn that. And then we put it into practice.
Right.
We're getting very good at it as well in India. A lot more people are looking at research. A lot
Yeah.
more articles are coming out in the medical field from India, and especially in the aesthetic field, there are a lot more KOLs from India who are going abroad and teaching the world about look at the way we do things. So I think it's great, Ivy. I really commend. That's commendable.
Shuba, it's
Yeah.
not that we wanted to do it. We were seeking information, and
Hmm.
when we asked somebody who was doing shootings, they looked at us suspiciously. They thought we've come to steal their thunder or something like that, and they would not encourage. They call these trade secrets, and it's a very close knit community, the film industry. And then here comes somebody. I mean, I'm the one who's actually meeting all these people because I'm the sales front for the
Hmm.
organization. My husband is the finance and the technical parts of which he handles. So, I mean, somebody so different from the film industry goes and knocks on their
Correct.
doors and asks, "How do you work?" And no, I had a lot of doors shut in my face.
Yeah.
So, it just didn't work that they were willing to share information. Nobody did, starting from spot boys to the largest film producers, whoever I met, they were not open for it. Some of them kind of, let's just say, they humored me a little bit and gave me some information and say, let's see what she does about it. But I think that's exactly why we had to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm glad we did, because now we're able to build a repository that
Really.
people are following, or at least attempting to follow.
Exactly. Terrific. So on that note, let's get to uh, your experience of the cohort and what's it been, because it is a learning journey. But the first thing I want to understand from both of you is, what is the trigger for you to join this cohort? It's not easy. As we were saying, this is a fairly intense program. Well, it is a few days a month. There's a lot of homework, reflections, work that you have to do. So, what was your trigger, Shuba, to get started out on this journey? And what's it been like the last 2 months now? It's about 8-10 weeks now.
Madan, when I started with this whole journey, there was absolutely nobody that could mentor me. There were
Uh,
no entrepreneurial schools. There was no help with business. Everything was trial and error. Marketing that I've learned, I've just tried different things. Some of them worked, some of them did not work. It was
hmm,
all trial and error.
hmm,
Apart from the mental support that I've had from my family and the financial support, I did not know a thing. I was trying to base everything on the experience I've had in the UK. So
correct.
I set some standards, like Ivy said, but then there was a lot more to be done. India was a completely different market for me. I really, really struggled in the beginning. But so that way, I'm really grateful when game came to me. Then I said, really, until now, I've been just working for passion, for the love of it. And I've never really looked at, profits or scaling up or growth. I wanted to, but it was just passion and love. And there were no figures. There was nothing else. There was no, I, I didn't understand what it meant to grow in a manner where you could show in figures. And so all of this has been great learning. They've been getting such great experts, the best of the best in the field. It's like a school. There's so much support from peers, from the experts, from the organizers. There's a structure to this whole thing. I feel like, if I'm lacking in something, I have someone that I can go to and ask. There were three areas that I identified when I joined Game where I was really struggling. One was finance management, one was HR, and then the other was the marketing. So these are the three areas that I thought, that I'm implementing
Hmm.
whatever Game has taught me so far, and I am seeing changes. So it's been a great journey for me so far.
Terrific. Yeah. Wonderful to, I think the acknowledgement and the uh, fact that, hey, I need help, I need support, and I need to kind of get to
Yeah.
learn this better is the first start point for any learning journey. Right?
Yes.
So, yeah. And Ivy, what was the trigger for you? I mean, uh, to get started out with the game cohort and your experience.
Yes, for me, well, it took a long time for us to understand the film industry and to work in it. But we did not work like we should set up a company or something,
Hmm.
because every project stands for a few days, a couple of weeks. We just do the project, take the revenues, be happy with it. We probably build a small team. But we know that in the long term, if we want this business to sustain, I definitely did not have any business sense. I do not come from a family of business people. We're all from a conservative middle class background.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, over generations, my family just has teachers and pastors and government employees. Even in my generation, I'm the first one to enter into business. So there's no business knowledge. I mean, film industry was a different thing, no knowledge of it, anyways. But even business, I didn't know how to set up the right organization that can scale, build and become profitable, in the long run. Or otherwise, if we didn't do it right, all this information and all this expertise that it would just be
Right.
lie wasted. So
Yeah.
we needed to build a sustainable enterprise, which is why I sought out looking for, and since we didn't even have business school information knowledge, so we started looking around and I came across game at that point of time. And I can't tell you, Madan, how the structure that just 2 months with game has put into my head.
Wonderful.
I'll tell you how. See, just before the pandemic, we were growing really well with recording about 3 times growth every year, you know. But our growth was getting steeper. What example is, look, our basic premise is locations
Hmm.
and how you shoot on those locations. But the filmmakers who started coming and interacting with us, they started asking us to do more for them. So we started getting into film production. We
Hmm.
started getting into overseas travel and doing business film production outside countries. So what's happening is we were doing locations predominantly, but we were also taking up other things.
Correct.
And that seemed to us the right growth. But when I came to game, I think we sat down and we decided that what you have right now is what you need to make scalable
Excellent.
and make it sustainable without the founders' intervention.
Correct.
And if you're able to do it, that would be the first step for you for having created a successful enterprise. And that would be your stepping stone to an additional level in your business.
Correct.
And I think we did a lot of example taking and a lot of exercises with the RAIN group. So, which helped me define what my actual value proposition is.
Hmm.
Talking to our customers, we never really talk to our customers. We only know that our customers are very happy with us because they keep
Hmm.
coming to us.
Hmm.
Why are they happy? What aspect are they happy about? Is what we gained an insight into after speaking to them. And then when we sat down, did all these exercises, which the Accelerator Bangalore taught us, we realized that, even while there are tempting offers, we should first stabilize our core business. And that has been the key learning for me in these 2 months. And I believe the pandemic also helped during this time, because now we have a little bit more time to focus on, take a back seat and think and strategize about building a business. So just 2 months, and this learning has been phenomenal. We're able to take this decision for our company.
Wonderful.
So I'm looking forward for the next 4 months. I'm just wondering what it will reveal itself out to be.
Yes. Though it's so heartening to hear this feedback, because this is exactly what we did when we set out to start off on this accelerator. How do you help entrepreneurs to scale? And you said it rightly, right? It's not about us as founders, it's about the institution. What sort of an organization can we build that will stand the test of time, right? And grow on its own without the overhang of, oh, the founders have to be there, right? If the founders are there, great. If they're not there for whatever reason, the organization must go on and continue to grow. So I think what you rightly said is the switch that you flipped, where you operated as an individual founder and the organization as an extension of you. And the flip switch then said the organization is much bigger. You are a part of that organization, right? And you as a founder, how do you strengthen the organization rather than the other way around? I think that's a very, very important uh, shift in the mindset to grow. I keep saying that every entrepreneur goes through 3 journeys, and a lot of us stop or initiate the next phase early on and it doesn't fire. That every entrepreneur goes through 3 phases. I mean, you start off because it's about your passion. You start off by saying, I will do it myself. I'm sure that was the first phase where you were doing everything, right? Right from location hunting to talking to customers to billing to invoicing, everything, right? Then you slowly start building the team, and the team becomes an extension of you. And you then imbibe the same culture, value, learning into the team where you say, I will get it done.
Right.
It may not be you there in every set, everything, but it's your team.
Right.
But the team is still an extension of you.
Sure.
But the evolution you're talking about, I believe, is phase 3, which is the most critical phase, which is about it will happen. That you put enough systems, processes, organizational frameworks in place, where irrespective whether you are there or not, the show must go on.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? And I think that's an extremely important learning and an insight that is coming out from this. And thank you so much. I think it's been such a fascinating conversation listening to both of you. Very different businesses, of course, very different approaches, but converging on the same track of learning, of making sure that the customers are able to derive your expertise and stay happy. And at the same time, building the organization in such a way that it can grow and create more jobs, which is what game is all about.
Right.
Right. So fantastic. I wish both of you the very best, more power to you. And I'm sure you are already an inspiration to a lot of us out there, deciding should I do it, not do it. The stringy answer is just do it, but do it the right way. And you shared some fantastic life lessons with all of us. Thank you so much. I really wish and pray that we get lot more women entrepreneurs like you. Interestingly, I want to raise the word. I mean, I keep watching myself. Actually, this is the first time that I use the word women in this show, and it tells us something about the quality of entrepreneurs you are. That it's not about women per se; it's about entrepreneurs, and that's most important.
Yes.
True.
Thank you
Brilliant.
so much, Madan.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Same here.